Hi guys, Jonathan here, and today we're talking about 3 ways to save money as a photographer. Okay, so as hobbyists, as professionals, as photographers in general, we all know that photography is expensive, but there are some ways to save money, because not a lot of people want to spend enormous amounts of money on photography. Of course, it depends on a lot of reasons. You might be, as I said, an hobbyist, you might just want to go out and take pictures, or take pictures of your family, or take pictures of your animals, or this kind of stuff. Or in general, you might not want to spend a lot of money, like me, for example. I used to do it professionally, but at the same time, even when I was a professional in photography, I didn't want to lose money like that, to spend money on new gear and stuff like this. So we're going through some points, 3 points to save money as photographers. The first point is buy used gear. And I'm saying this because I'm used to buy used gear. Because used gear is obviously cheaper than new gear, but the point is that a lot of people, people who don't know a lot about photography, for example older people, but also young people, it's not something about older people only. A lot of people who don't know a lot about photography and don't know what they are buying precisely, or this kind of stuff, spend a lot of money on new gear, and then when they understand that they are not into photography anymore, or they just spent too much money on some gear they don't really need, they sell it as used. So I'm not saying that all used gear is like this, but there are a lot of opportunities in the used market to buy basically new gear, like hardly ever used gear, for used price. And you just have to search for this kind of opportunities, you know, through eBay, through this kind of websites, through MPB. That is a website that I'm using lately, like in the latest months. I sold and bought some lenses through the website, and I'm liking it. It's a professional website. They look professional, and like all the service that they provide is good. So in general, I recommend MPB. I'm buying my new lens, the digital lens that I was talking about in the latest video, through MPB, selling other digital lenses that I had. So yeah, fingers crossed. I can't cross my fingers, and we'll see when it arrives. So this was the first point. Actually, it's a very basic point, but just guys, pay attention to the used market. Don't think that all used gear is shit and it's I don't know, fucked up. Used gear may be gorgeous, may be fantastic, and I've been using used gear for a lot of time, and you can see the results on my Instagram page, on my other videos. Like basically everything that I use is used, so guys, don't worry about that. Okay, the second point is basically the same as the first one, but it's regarding to vintage lenses. So my advice is to buy vintage lenses, because vintage lenses have character. Vintage lenses can provide a totally different look to your images, and you know, because I just don't like the clinical sharp look that digital lenses provide. It's I don't know, it's boring, it's always the same, and with vintage lenses you can get a totally different result. And talking about the purpose of this video, digital lenses, most digital lenses are very, very cheap, and you can get crazy good lenses for cheap, for like 20 euros, 30 euros, 50 euros, 100 euros if you want to exaggerate, if you want to get like the best of the best in vintage lenses. But in general, guys, consider buying vintage lenses, because it's I don't know, it's a very good training in general, because you use manual focus, this kind of stuff. You get used to manual focus, and that's a good thing, because it makes you think of what you're doing and how your composition, how your framing is. So it's better, it's so good, even if you still use digital lenses alongside the vintage ones. And in general, they have character, as I was saying in the beginning. So guys, go for vintage lenses if you had this chance, because the adapters are so cheap. So guys, go for it. So third and last point, go for smaller sensor cameras. Why? Because bigger sensors don't mean bigger results, don't mean better results, because I see every day a lot of works made by people who only use full frame and the fastest lenses that you can get, and they are total shit. While at the same time I see a lot of results that people are getting with Fujifilm, with Sony, with Lumix, with Olympus, with APS-C, with Micro Four Thirds, of course, with even with iPhones or with smartphones that are good. I'm not advising you to do smartphone photography because I just hate it, but in general you're getting the point. You don't need this kind of big sensors to make photography. And why? Because photography is based on other things. It's not all about sensor. And full frame cameras, as we all know, are much more expensive than smaller sensors camera. And the thing is that if you want to compare, like, I don't know, a full frame camera from 2008 and an APS-C top level camera from 2022, it's obvious that the full frame camera might cost less. But if you compare on the same era, if you take the same year and the same level in general of experience that is required by the user from the camera, the cost is totally different. Especially Micro Four Thirds is a very accessible system, and I totally advise you guys, if you want to start with photography, if you don't want to waste money unnecessarily at the beginning, for example, or even if you want to use cameras to work like in a professional way, there are a lot of people who use Micro Four Thirds or APS-C as their main system, and they are delivering great results. As I was saying, guys, you just have to check. If you don't believe me, just type on YouTube, I don't know, cinematic Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. If you don't know about it, it's a Micro Four Thirds camera, and then you check the results, and then you get back to this video and comment, because it's just one example, or you can check footage that is shot with GH5, with G9, like top level Micro Four Thirds cameras, or the latest Olympus, or the latest Fujifilm models. Guys, there's plenty of good examples. So guys, in general, consider smaller sensor cameras, because they are worth it. So this was the end of the video, and guys, I know that I'm not talking about rocket science, that I'm saying things that for most of you might be obvious, but at the same time it's always good to stop sometimes and think of what we are doing, and think if we are wasting money, if we don't want to waste money in general, what we really need, and stuff like this. And if you are starting out with photography, you probably didn't consider these things, these options. So I think that in general it's a good thing to talk about this as well, and not always talking about the latest model, the latest technology, the latest things that like literally 99% of us don't really need to get good photographs. So yeah, that's it, guys. So guys, take care, and see you in the next video. Bye, guys.